Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Vantage Point, where we'll bring you a wide perspective of the week in the news. I'm your host, Mohammed Choonara. Thank you for joining us this evening. As the world commemorates the 13th annual Israeli Apartheid Week, we will be dedicating this evening's program to Palestine, the land of the prophets, and to a people who have been brutalized, made refugees in their own land, and a people whose lives have become so difficult. Not a day goes by where we don't hear about some kind of injustice meted out to the people of Palestine. So this evening, to kick off the show, I thought it'll be a good idea to go back to basics and get a brief history of the Palestinian issue. This clip was prepared by Palestinian youth. Take a look.
At the beginning of 1947, this was Palestine. But that year, the UN decided to partition Palestine and gave 56% of the land to Zionists to create Israel. The Palestinians were not consulted and had no say in this.
After the partition plan was announced, Zionist terror gangs began systematically trying to get rid of Palestinians from the remainder of the land. This is what was left of Palestine after nearly 6 months of sustained terror and ethnic cleansing.
Palestinians call this period the Nakba, the catastrophe. 13,000 Palestinians were massacred by the Zionists. 500 Palestinian villages were burned to the ground, and 750,000 Palestinians fled the land in terror to become refugees. In May 1948, the State of Israel was declared on 78% of the land that used to be Palestine.
This is Palestine now. In 1967, Israel invaded the West Bank and Gaza, and its military occupation continues to this day.
Illegal Israeli settlements have eaten up the West Bank, taking even more land from Palestinians. Gaza is under siege, with Israel-controlled people through an air, land and sea blockade.
This was Palestine. Now, you know what happened to it.
We are all Palestinians.
We are human beings just like you.
To have our own country free from Israeli occupation and siege, where we can live and look forward to the future.
We want the same things you want.
Just like you.
Are you with us?
Now that we've got an overview of the situation, we can see the similarities between Israeli apartheid and apartheid in South Africa. Apartheid was declared a crime against humanity. How long will the world turn a blind eye to Israeli apartheid? Israel maintains a regime similar to what South Africa's was, a dual legal system, civilian for Jews and military for Palestinians. Jewish settlers are citizens. Palestinian residents are denied human, civil and political rights. Palestinian citizens of Israel suffer discrimination in budgetary allocations, freedom of speech and access to land and services. Palestinian refugees from the 1948 Nakba or the Exodus cannot even set foot in their own country, let alone enjoy any rights within what used to be their own home. Entrenching the legal and political fragmentation of the Palestinian population is a key goal of the Israeli regime.
There are amazing similarities between apartheid South Africa and what more and more people today are regarding as apartheid Israel. There are coincidences, there are date milestones which are amazing. Of course, it's the essence that's the important aspect, and why Israel reminds South Africans from Archbishop Desmond Tutu to struggle heroes who visit the occupied territories. First of all, very clear, this is worse than apartheid. But as South Africans visit, and I'm talking about former freedom fighters and so on, and get to know the way in which Palestinians living within Israel proper are treated and discriminated. We see also the apartheid type discrimination very strong.
The Israeli Apartheid Week, an annual event held every year in March, aims to mobilize in solidarity with the Palestinian people. Naturally, many South African activists are willing to share their experience in the struggle against apartheid and may have spoken out against Israel and its policies.
So it's not just us who are showing our solidarity with the people of Palestine. These are credible, including the United Nations, credible international bodies who have condemned what Israel is doing against the people of Palestine. Each year, approximately 700 Palestinian children aged between 12 to 17, the great majority of them boys, are arrested, interrogated, and detained by the Israeli army, the police, and the security agents. In the past 10 years, an estimated 7,000 children have been detained, interrogated, prosecuted, or imprisoned by the Israeli military justice system, an average of 2 children a day. In 1977, the United Nations passed a resolution, and I repeat, the United Nations passed a resolution inaugurating the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. So it is not an invention of South Africans who are showing their solidarity. It is the United Nations that passed this Day of Solidarity. But it is not surprising that the unrepentant and racist apartheid twins, apartheid Israel and apartheid South Africa, had the contempt of defying United Nations resolutions and resolutions of other international bodies. The ANC and our government have a proud record of the solidarity with the Palestinian people's struggle. On numerous occasions, President Mandela reiterated our solidarity. In 1977, he said, "We know too well that our freedom in South Africa is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinian people."
About 22 years ago, our common struggle as the people of South Africa and all our dear friends the world over decisively ended something that the UN correctly described as a crime against humanity. That is the shame of apartheid and colonialism on our shores. This was a system based on the most bizarre and backward forms of racism, discrimination, and colonial aggression. It dehumanizes people with such savage cruelty that no person ever again must have to endure or go through that which we went through in our beloved country.
The anti-apartheid movement was based on forming broad alliances across racial barriers, putting pressure on the regime internally through mass mobilization and combining marches, strikes, boycotts, mass action, overseas solidarity, diplomacy, and armed struggle. Can elements of that approach be used against the Israeli regime and in the service of the Palestinian campaign for civil and political rights? Palestinian unity requires placing the struggle against the occupation above factional squabbles, mobilizing popular forces on a shared platform of resistance, and coordinating efforts with Palestinians in the diaspora as well as inside Israel. This is not a Muslim matter only. Activists across the religious and racial line have spoken out against the Israeli system.
Most of us, whether we're Hindu, whether we're Jewish, whether we're Buddhist, whether we're Christian, we believe in holiness, we believe in justice, and we believe in righteousness. Judaism talks of a value called loving kindness, chesed. How is this compatible with what is happening in Israel? It's in no way compatible. You cannot read any of the reports from human rights associations and think that any of this is compatible with any religion at all. It's especially not compatible with a Judaism which emphasizes kindness, compassion, and justice. For those of you who know Judaism, it is very much a legalistic religion with many laws. Now, the way that the Zionist regime has been set up, it violates every law, universal law you can think of. It's a crime in universal law, in international law. In the letter, says, "We'll appeal to you who have lived through apartheid in South Africa and have seen the immense and long-lasting suffering that is a consequence, to consider whether Israelis have the right to impose such an unjust and unequal regime on Palestinians." They also say, "The Jewish tradition promotes the healing and repair of the world, tikkun olam, the mitzvot, pursue justice and righteousness and compassionate action. We believe that we cannot be true to our heritage and also support the current hegemony in Israel. We ask you to stand with us in calling for change." And South African Jews for a Free Palestine responds to this. We will stand with them, and we call internationally for action, because apartheid in Israel is not only for 1 week. Apartheid has been going on since 1948.
On that note, we'll take a break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Vantage Point. We're now going to play you a clip of members of the European Parliament who went on a fact-finding mission to Palestine. The scenes are truly astonishing and a real eye-opener to the inhumanity that Palestinians face.
Issues of self-determination, peace, justice and freedom are very important for the European Free Alliance group in the European Parliament. That's why a delegation of 3 MEPs visited Palestine to witness at first hand the situation in the West Bank, to see for themselves how ordinary people are managing in their day-to-day lives with all of the challenges that they face.
Nous aimons la vie autant que possible.
Hebron é o símbolo e o exemplo vivo deste sistema de discriminación. É tan dura a vida ali que incluso pois a xente ten restriccións para ir á escola diariamente. Vimos como os meniños non podían acceder á escola pola que accedían normalmente. E todo porque se instalaron ali 400 colonos xudíos. 400 colonos nunha poboación de 156.000 habitantes que condicionaron, que cambiaron a vida das palestinas e palestinos de Hebron.
We are passing into H2, the restricted part of Hebron, where settlers attack the people every day, and the closed shops, the closed apartments, the closed markets, and this is the main checkpoint, which is preventing the people from living normally in this side. So we will pass this checkpoint, and it's one of the 20 checkpoints in Hebron.
And everybody has to go through.
Everybody. If you go to school, if you go to university, if you go to your work, if you want to do shopping, daily shopping, you have to pass the checkpoint. I pass this checkpoint more than 10 times a day. Okay, I will take it when I come back, okay?
أنت عليك أخوها؟
مين أنت خرج؟ اسمع أعطيته أنا للجوز.
أنت نلي أنت نلي.
Why you are nervous? Why you are nervous? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Tell me. Talk to me.
أنت شو متين؟ تكشفوا كلهم. أنت واقف شو مدرجات؟ أنت واقف شو مدرجات؟ ناكل شام.
The West Bank city of Hebron is a flashpoint in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Settler activity has led to violence against Palestinian civilians, destruction of Palestinian property, and abuse of Palestinian rights under international law. Discriminatory privileges for settlers further compound these abuses and create an environment in which settlers can act with apparent impunity.
This was the main street in Hebron. It was full of shops. It was the centre of the city and city life. And now, as you can see, it's closed. not only are the shops closed, but the whole street is closed to any Palestinians. I can stand here because I'm not Palestinian, and the Israeli settlers can use this street, the soldiers use this street, the police who are here to look after the settlers use this street. But if the Palestinians want to travel down this way in the city, then they have to go up behind this wall and through the graveyard. It really is a system like apartheid.
Israeli checkpoints in the occupied West Bank have become part of everyday life for the thousands of Palestinians who must pass through them daily. They are a form of collective punishment, turning Palestinian cities into prisons. This giant wall has been built within the territory of the West Bank, rather than along the Green Line, which is the de facto internationally recognised border based on the Armistice Line of 1949. Many Palestinian communities have been divided, or in some cases, whole neighbourhoods have been completely cut off from the rest of Jerusalem by the route of the wall.
In the West Bank, Israel extracts almost 90% of the water under the aquifers. Palestinians are left only with 10% of that amount.
The extra water the Palestinians need, they actually have to buy back from the Israelis, even though it's their own water. People don't have enough for showers, for everyday use, things that we just take for granted.
Over 60% of Palestinian-owned structures, which were demolished in 2011 due to lack of proper permit, were located in areas allocated to settlements. This is the Silwan area in occupied East Jerusalem, where over 1,000 Palestinians face losing their homes. Israeli settlers have already moved into parts of Silwan in an attempt to take over the town and evict Palestinian families who have lived here for generations.
This is our land and this is our houses. We are not going to leave it. They can do whatever they want. We are staying here, we born here, and we'll die here.
It's West Bank, I don't know. But we will be known as Palestinians living in Palestine, in a place, in a state on the map called Palestine.
We are not asking for the moon. Let us make a choice, let us use our voice. Follow the way that we have to travel. Follow the way, not is one you put on. Some alone that you but the news. Make a mother cry, make a people die. It is not in this silly situation we can build a better future.
Truly sad to see such scenes, apartheid all over again. We must keep in mind that the apartheid analogy obscures an important dimension of the South African system, the role of black labor in white prosperity. The white-dominated state relied on exploiting black people to enhance its own welfare. At the same time, this gave black workers leverage to apply pressure and extract concessions. The labor movement thus played a central political role. This is not the case in Israel or Palestine. Creating employment for Jewish immigrants has been paramount, making Palestinian workers dispensable and unable to undermine the system from within. The role of external solidarity, therefore, is crucial. Diplomacy and solidarity in the service of the internal movement is essential. So too is dialogue and coordination between local and global actors. Outsiders may provide advice, But the responsibility for action is carried by local people and organizations. Let us support them by educating ourselves and others, providing options for analysis, reflection and action, and expressing solidarity. On that note, we play out with a song for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Until next time, from me and the rest of the team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لوقتيش بدهم الإسرائيليين يضلوا معادلين فينا هيك؟ لوقتيش؟
أنا أعرف.
بابا
والله ما نعرف شو أسوي،
بابا.
والله زهقت حالي.
بابا
نعم حبيبتي.
عنا جوان؟
ياسمين اعمل أكل لهالأولاد جعانين.
حبيبي فيش أكل.
كل الأكل خلص اللي جبته قبل يومين؟ ولا دكانة فيها أكل.
والله؟
صار له أسبوع الطرق مسكرة، إسرائيل سكرت كل الطرق. شو بدي أسوي؟
شو احنا نسوي؟
بعيني الله، هلا بطلع كمان ادور كمان مرة، ان شاء الله نلاقي، ان شاء الله. ادعي لي يا حاج، ادعي لي ان شاء الله. ان شاء الله. يلا سلام عليكم.
بابا
نعم حبيبي.
أجي معك؟
لا يا يوسف خليك في الدار، دير بالك على اختك وعلى عمك. ها انا بجيب اكل وهلا باجي على طول، ماشي؟ يلا سلام عليكم.
I see you creeping over the border, guns are blazing, you bring the horror. Tell me how you sleep at night.
I've been to the Holy Land, a place cherished by the children of Abraham. But this bloodshed and carnage don't understand. Sun, raise your head, find a star in the night sky. Freedom will come, Palestine, we hear it worldwide.
I see you creeping over the border, so eager to take a life. Guns are blazing, you bring the horror. Tell me how you sleep at night. Children screaming, no tomorrow. That's how they live their lives. Hope still burning, freedom will come. Everything's gonna be alright. No matter how you try, you'll never kill a hole burning bright deep inside. You may take their lives, but you'll never kill a voice rising up. Freedom will come, Palestine. As a father buries his child, you say she deserved to die, but ain't nobody buying your lies. How can you say it's right? Demolition of homes and minds. In the eyes of a world gone blind, the revolution ain't televised. In the streets with the blood and the dust, you will hear their cry. No matter how you try, you'll never kill the whole burning bright deep inside. You may take their lives, but you'll never kill the voice rising up, saying freedom will come, Palestine.
Yeah, living conditions vicious, electricity missing, villages pillaged, mothers and children, innocent victims. Indigenous, however, treated as if they were the foreigner and criminal for showing resistance. Freedom limited by an occupant position, inhibited transmission from humanitarians. This is just the beginning of these horrific incidents. Innocence disregarded, so bombs drop, kill and injure. Tell me, how hypocritical is it to receive reparations for the crimes committed against you, only to turn around and do the same type of atrocities done to you? Face the truth, justice will win through, and we all will answer for what we do. No oppression never lasts. Stand firm, hold fast to your faith. Let us pray Palestine will find freer days.
No matter how you try, you'll never kill a hole burning bright deep inside. You may take their lives, but you'll never kill a voice rising up, saying freedom will come, Palestine. Freedom will come, Palestine. Freedom will come, Freedom will come, Palestine. Freedom will come, Palestine. Freedom will come, Palestine. Freedom will come, Palestine. Freedom will come, Palestine.
Don't you know we'll be here soon?